cheers and enjoy the beers. Yes, Rasko and Disco beer review with me, Disco, coming at you with another live beer review show on Rasko and Disco channel here in front of the cans and bottles here on the bar. What I'm still thinking about calling the Disco Arms. Welcome to Monday Club. Who has a beer session on a Monday these days? Who looks at Monday night and think, I need a beer, it's a school night? It's a term that annoys me. School night, assuming everybody else is at work the following day. Well, I'm not at work tomorrow. I'll explain why later, I suppose. But yeah, let's have a beer. Welcome along if you're watching this live, and if you're watching this afterwards, after the event, as always. Cheers and enjoy the beers. There we go again. Greetings, Mr. Wilson, as ever. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, leading you astray, I suppose. It's not compulsory viewing, but welcome to you and anybody else who pops along. If you've got a beer on a Monday night, do let me know what it is. That's weird. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, so I've actually changed the plan. I put the wrong one up at last minute. This is a really impromptu and very badly planned show tonight, apart from the 3 beers chosen. So in a last minute change of plan, this is beer number 1. So badly planned, I haven't even put the details up there, or got the magnifying glass out once again. You think I'd remember what was happening? Now I've done it enough, haven't I? Right, let's edit that. Alligator Tugboat from a Pressure Drop is a 7.2% IPA. A double IPA. You could argue infinitum when a double IPA started. I'm going to magnifying glass out and get into that a little bit. But yeah. Boland Deerstalker, a nice fruity stout. I like the sound of that. I've heard of Boland, but never got around to looking at any of their stuff. I know a few people have mentioned it and indeed reviewing it. So at the moment, it's just me and you, David. If anybody else joins in, do catch them up with what I'm wanging on about. Got a vague kind of, it's not really a speech, it's not really a monologue, it's just a bunch of ideas I cobbled together this afternoon whilst I was perusing the internet. As soon as I said that, Mersey Biz. No, I think, actually, one of them might be. They all recently brought, actually, these 3 beers tonight. This one, I think, is probably the one I bought first. I actually picked this one up. Yeah, so this was like early April, I think. Actually picked it up. Yeah, Pressure Drops Alligator Tugboat. Kind of like I like the teeth design on it, but also I don't like the fact that it hasn't got all the information. It's all on the side and all the back there, so it doesn't like as great for photography purposes. Escobar, good evening to you. Thank you very much indeed for popping in. So yeah, pick this one up at my local bottle shop, now sadly demised. They gave up at the end of March, early April, so I popped down there on the last week of trading. Had a chat with Jason Yates, the Beer Asylum in Pinner. I think I did a video about it. Yes, I did, so I would have featured that on this one. So yeah, it's taken me a while to get around to this one. I've got so many things to think about and try and remember that I'm going to go on about. The reason I picked this one tonight, and again the reason I picked it up, because I thought, well, I've got to try these things. And I was chatting on Friday night. I had a little bit of a late night live over on I think it was Kent. Yeah, I think it was Craig's stream. Look at the hair, it's all over the shop, man. I'm getting old. Yeah, so I was on Craig's stream, popped up, and I did a beer, a very current beer actually, from Two Flints. It was double IPA, and as you know, as I always wang on about, I don't really do double IPAs because I can't guarantee that they're actually going to be drinkable on my palate. And I was very surprised to taste that that one was a very, very smooth and very, very nice. So I thought, as I was perusing the beer stash to get this Bash to Stash stream out, and I thought I'll do this. I thought it was a double IPA, but it's just 7.2% IPA. And yeah, I believe it is an annual release. I had a quick look on the internet, and it's been, I think, variously different. I imagine it's variously different. Oh no, it's Simcoe. No, it was Simcoe last year. Or the one previously, they actually had the thing on the front, the name on the front, and now it's slightly inconveniently on the side. And I'm not going to lift it up to the camera because it might drip all over the laptop. Paul, thanks for popping in. I guess, like me, Monday is kind of your day off too. Yeah, I kind of don't really work Mondays anymore, apart from over the summer. I think I've worked 1 in 4, and that was only for a couple of hours because they needed to do some stuff up the brewery, taken down from events at the weekend. So, having had another busy weekend this weekend, I've banged out 3 full shifts on the bar. So I'm pretty knackered, but I kind of like it. Monday and Tuesday now tends to be my weekend. The only problem with that is, man, I don't really fancy a beer on a Monday and Tuesday. I do try to do like some of the beer videos on a Monday and Tuesday so I can get them up Wednesday and Thursday. I haven't got a full plan of this crazy world of YouTube of like putting out content. I've just got a vague idea of at least trying to get something out once a week, either a video and or a live, preferably. I've kind of slowed off a little bit on videos recently. Just again due to time, being up the brewery 4 days a week and then doing beer at the weekend. Like I struggle like to then come back and talk about beer and get beer out. I've said this before, I think. This one's very weird. I'm not sure I like it. There's a sort of nondescript kind of tropical note about it, sort of citrusy. Thankfully though, doesn't feel like it goes anywhere near grapefruit. Now once again, I always forget about Simcoe and what it brings to the party, but it does say citrus, resinous and dank. Well, thankfully that doesn't taste too resinous. I have left it, like I say, I did pick it up in about March or April down the shop. Packaged on the 22nd of the 2nd this year. Best before 22nd of the 8th. So this one is in date, Adam. Just about. I mean, that's quite a long date for a kind of resinous dank citrus IPA. Although it does read, the alligator tugboat is a type of amphibious steam-powered logging boat invented in 1878 in the town of Simcoe, Ontario. Label art is from the legendary Sweet Tooth. Right, so there's a town in Ontario called Simcoe. It doesn't say whether that's where the hops derive the name from, as such. It's addressed in Paris there for some reason. But yeah, pressure drop over in N17 in North London. That's all the tasting notes you get. There's a slight... I don't think there's a problem with the beer. There's a slight kind of sort of marzipan-y, buttery coating on the lips, which I imagine might be an off flavour, but I don't think it is in this beer because it doesn't taste off. It just tastes a bit weird. Oh yeah, kind of like shy away from that a little bit, but the beer itself looks good. Plenty of lacing on the glass. Nice golden colour. Yeah, there's a little bit of pine coming through there now, maybe if I think about it. Yeah, there's some kind of pininess accumulating on the back of the palate there, which I don't struggle with as much as I do grapefruit. Simcoe is not a hop I gravitate towards, to be fair. Like I say, trying beers that I wouldn't normally look at. I just buy them sometimes just to go, you've got to give these IPAs and double IPAs and some piney hoppy resinous stuff a go at some point. But you don't have to. I just kind of choose to. It's not compulsory. You drink what you drink, and this is kind of like what I was going to talk about on this stream, really, on this show, because kind of crossing over into what is the state of beer. It's a big show. It's a big theme to talk about on a Monday night, but it's possibly better on a Monday night than a Friday when just want to be enjoying stuff. I'm not entirely enjoying this beer. It's all right. What's anybody else drinking, by the way? If you are drinking on a Monday night, like I say, don't really normally drink on a Monday night, but kind of off today and tomorrow. Oh, Craig, thanks for popping in. But I was just saying, thanks for letting us pop in on Friday night and drink a couple of beers with you. Good to catch up with you and Rob Hopsine. It was an amusing Friday night. Good to see Sammy again as well. I thought I'd do something on a Monday night because not many people do a Monday night, but here I am. Kind of started it when I was looking around YouTube this afternoon. Saw a couple of videos that not really unexpected, but maybe unexpected from the quarter. Kind of looking at the state of beer reviewing and the state of their channels. I won't name them. I will, because I hate that expression. I won't name them. Well, why talk about them? Anyway, that's beside the point. That's just my own little bugbear. I will name them because I don't think they mind being named because they put the content out. One of which was Chris's beer reviews. You haven't seen a lot for a while. And the other was Scott of now Scott's reviews things. Where they asked a question, Chris asked a question of his own channel, and Scott generally asked about the state of beer reviewing and where are we at with it. And well, I don't really want to do. I've never really wanted to do one of those, like where is that with the channel, because the channel here, as best we can, or what it is at the moment, is never really about me. It's always I've always tried to make it about the beer, focusing on the beer, reviewing the beer, talking about the beer, and the brewers and the beer people as well. Never really about me or never my personal situation. Mainly because I don't really want to talk about it. I just prefer talking about the beer. But it's fucking heck, you know what I mean? But anyway, obviously there is a certain element of the people involved with the channels, I suppose. So I kind of guess I'm meant to. Also, I'm meant to put the banners up. That would be good. Beer number one, press drop. I'll tell you what else I'm meant to do. Is the old photograph. I think I will do that with this one. So if you could remind me again, Mr. Wilson, your kind of accidentally self-appointed job on these live streams. You like to take the picture. So I've got some content for the Instagram. The whole point of reviewing beers, for me anyway, well, part of the content of doing beers is for doing content, getting some pictures up and getting some videos out. So I do on these streams, if I know you good people have watched my streams before. So I do like to do a little picture, and then tomorrow when I get a chance, again, because I'm off, I'll bang it up on Instagram and hopefully come back to it and maybe watch the video. See what I said about the beers. Yeah, sorry, I didn't put that up front, my bad. I didn't say, could you remind me, because I'll start wanging on and forgetting. So thank you, Dave Wilson. Say not a problem. Wouldn't expect you to keep doing it. It's not compulsory, but thank you when you do. And if you do it for the next two, that'd be great if you stayed. All right. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I smashed that one down fairly quickly. I think mostly to get it out of the way. I'm really not sure about it. There's not a massive juiciness. That kind of pininess is coming through more. And there's the dank bitteriness that I don't fully get on with. But it's not a massive punchy spikiness. It's not really cloying up my taste buds. It's just bordering on sort of testing with that pininess. Simcoe, I guess. Hop. It's kind of a bit drying as well. That's what I don't like. kind of drying pininess. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well and their respective channels, and you're happy with where you're at. So yeah, it's not one of those kind of, I don't want to say worries me, because it's not about that. It's about where everybody's at. I'm not really looking at where I'm at or where the channel's at, although there might be some longer term discussions around that as to where this channel goes, what we do. But at the moment, I'm a stubborn old git, so I'm just going to keep bashing out content. I think I've got a massive stash of beers. I haven't filmed it again this week, again because of the hasty nature of banging this show up on a Monday night. Who does that? But yeah, so I'm okay. I'm not okay, but I'm okay. I'm doing all right. You know, like I say, working at the brewery is kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. I hope I'm not banging on about it too much. Do let me know if I am. I'll shut up. But yeah, it's kind of fun. So I'm kind of doing okay. I'm kind of busy, and I do struggle a little bit with content, trying to get content out. I struggle a little bit talking to the camera because I'm essentially talking to myself. I kind of been thinking recently, I do kind of miss that kind of like doing it on my own. I kind of miss that bouncing off of Rasko, or bouncing off of someone, to be fair. So maybe I need to attend to that and get that sorted out at some point. For those who don't know, Rasko's on an indefinite hiatus from content creation due to a lack of time. Some would say talent. I wouldn't, because I'm not that rude. But yeah, no, he's sort of taken a step back, and well, to be fair, left me to it, and I'm fine with that. It's just, like I say, it's not really all about me. It's all about the beer. I'm kind of just documenting the beer I'm drinking, because I've always kind of done that. I've had that kind of wholehearted attitude to hobbies, and for a while I didn't do any kind of content creation about it. I just went out and drinking beer, and eventually with the onset of social media, I'd start posting it up, and then eventually, you know, me and Rasko would go out drinking, and somebody somewhere on the line said, oh, you should probably be social mediaizing this a bit more, and he started a channel, called it Rasko and Disco, and we went out to pubs and bars back in the day when we could. Didn't get that many videos up, to be fair, because it was basically a vehicle for like once a month, me and Rasko meeting up and going for a beer, and then we'd have a little drunken chat about what we drunk and try and remember the beers and do a beer review. Love going to the beer festivals, of course. So that content is up there, and it's still there. I still refer to it as Rasko and Disco because, you know, I respect to Rasko for pushing us into it and starting it, and I'm, if nothing else, a stubborn old git. I'm going to carry on producing content, if nothing else, because I've got a whole stack of beers in there that I bought on the basis that I was going to do some content about it. I want to know what they taste like. I want you to know what they taste like. But Adam's comment earlier was very prescient about out-of-date beers, because I probably have got a few. Probably should sort them out. Probably should put them in some kind of order, but I've never been that nerdily anal about that sort of stuff. Some things I am, some things I'm not. With beer, it all just goes in there and I drink it. Like I said before, I get onto these kind of shows and I like to cobble together some beers that have some kind of relevance, so I've got something to talk about. The beers this evening don't have any particular relevance to each other or the show. It was just a kind of thing I cobbled together. Mostly, I was having a sort of, well, there was a brief chat on a WhatsApp group I'm in with some football mates of mine, and they're all kind of parents now, and one of them was moaning about the price of kids' clubs or something and saying he could have spent £17.50 on beer, except the fact he drinks Coors and other shit like that, so I always berate him about that. And then somebody else was moaning about what theirs was costing or whatever, and I just couldn't help myself. Sometimes I'm a cheeky git, I can't help it, so I banged a little message on there going, here's a tiny violin for all you parents out there moaning about the price of the beer. I'm just sitting here playing this tiny violin and thinking about what beers I'm gonna, what £17.50 is worth of 3 beers I'm gonna drink this evening. Yeah, because I haven't got any kids, I don't have to worry about that, and it's kind of, I'm fine with that. And I do have, therefore, more disposable income. I don't have a lot of disposable income, so I don't have a lot of income. But what I do, I can just about manage within my means to spend on beer. And I spend too much on beer and also not enough. There's half a dozen breweries I still mean to get round to at some point and still haven't. And as you know, and you've seen the videos, if you watched this before, you've seen the amount of beers in the stash. It's kind of challenging. Certainly, my man Raggy's beer wall in his gaff. I was talking about that last week. But yeah, I'm slowly getting through them. That's why this kind of the new live show kind of format came about, where I just bang together 2 or 3 beers. Probably should have only done 2 on a Monday night, but I got 3 out, so I'm going to drink them. I'm going to get rid of this one. Yeah, I just want to get through it and get on to something else. Not that the next one's necessarily going to be any better for my palate, but you've got to try these things. And the next one is one I don't really try that much, and probably should, because I think I like it more. So there's a slight buttery note on the back end, mainly on the mouthfeel, on the coating on the lips. There's a little bit of orange, maybe a little bit of tropicalness, but mostly sort of pine. So let me get through that one. Henry, I'm going to overlook that comment, but thank you very much for it anyway. Yeah. What can you do? What can you do? Yeah, so basically, kind of what this came about was, I say, watching these 2 videos. I'm not quite, if I'd done this properly, I would have set it up to get the prescient points about what I was talking about. And you've probably all seen it, but I'm just going to play this like to do some commentary on it, if I've set it up right. So yeah, just kind of over breakfast this morning. Scott asked this question: have beer reviews had their day?
You're thinking, what's today's podcast about, Scott? And I'm going to tell you, because it's something I've been thinking about for a little while. Something pricked my interest a couple of days ago. And it's about beer reviews and beer reviewers and predominantly, have they had their day? Has the thirst, no pun intended, for beer reviews had its day? There have been some channels that have been around for years, you know, and still do very well. I think I mentioned this I did a live stream on Friday where I got into this a little bit about.
See, my bad planning, I didn't get that quite right. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fair question, I think. I'm tired to ask it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I personally don't think they have, because they're still here. There's plenty of us doing it. Scott on that one then goes on to mention like a bunch of prominent, eminent beer reviewers, well known, you know, about the place. Didn't mention us, but that's fine. I wouldn't expect him to. We are kind of small fry. Don't worry about it, Scott. That's all good. You can have that one. See, other people will get the right ass on that, and it'd be some beef. Go, oh, you didn't mention me. You forgot me. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm not berating Scott or praising Scott in any way. Like, you know what I mean? He's entitled to that. That thought process, that content. I don't watch all of Scott's stuff, to be fair, but then obviously don't watch all or any of mine. But I do enjoy some of the stuff he do. I don't watch all of a lot of other beer reviewers. I use it as much the same as way as other social media, and social media is only really what you make it. You know, you don't have to get involved, you don't have to watch, you don't have to like, comment, subscribe. Please do. Nice segue. But yeah, I mean, to some extent, exactly. Who cares? It don't matter. It don't matter a damn. None of it matters. It's all a way of, well, hobbies. It's hobbies and interests for the most part. I mean, there is a sort of element of monetization channels on YouTube where the content creation and what you're talking about does kind of matter for, you know, views and likes. And I'm not going to lie, I like putting stuff out because I like seeing the numbers go up. It amuses me. Does it gratify me? I suppose. I like, you know, the following morning you put a video out and the following morning, 30 views, 40 people have looked in on this video because they've liked the title, the thumbnail, or my content or whatever. I'm fully aware that 40 people or whatever haven't watched the entirety of that video, interact with it, and gone, he knows what he's talking about. But again, yeah, exactly. I enjoy the chats, the reviews. I enjoy other people's chats, other people's reviews. I don't watch all of everything. Like I say, I'll just, if I see a thumbnail and there's a beer that I'm interested in or I have done previously, I'd like to see other people's opinions on it. I'd like to see what else is out there. Mainly that's why I use like Instagram and formerly Twitter before we got busted off it, just as an information source. And YouTube is that as well, just an information source of seeing what's out there, what other people are drinking. I've always been, again, talking about Adam's comment about drinking out of date beers, I've always been fairly behind the curve. And certainly on YouTube, I have rarely, I won't say never, but I have occasionally rushed out to get all the beers other people. I've tried to be the first. I put that thing out about in February, about that Verdant beer. About Putty. Having drunk last year's on the eve of the new one coming out, trying to make it look like I'd got stolen the march on everybody. That was more a bit of an attempt at humor, an attempt at winding up the YouTube community, such as it is. How did Disco get Putty first? He didn't. He was never going to. I mean, there's few beers that I do rush out. Obviously, as you know, like I was talking before the other day on Craig's stream about the Disco beers that I was talking about last week. And David Wilson, once again, thank you for the reminder. I did go out and purchase those beers over the weekend on release day. No, I think I did the following morning in the end, actually. But yeah, I purchased those Turning Point beers because I like the beers, because they're Disco beers. So that's one of the few breweries that I will rush out and get stuff. There's loads of other beers in the stash that I've gone out and think, I haven't seen anybody else do that. That sounds like an interesting, that's a mainstream one. Like there's a bottle of that Old Speckled Hen have brought out a stout, and I saw a few people do it the other week, and I happened to be in Sainsbury's the following day, so I picked it up. Never got around to it. There's a Hairy Bikers one. Never got around to doing that because I thought that would be interesting. Because a fella passed away, never got around to it. I will at some point. Sometime this year. Whenever. No, you're good, Henry. Don't worry. It happens all the time. To be fair, it only happens all the time because we put them both in the name, and it's no worries. But yeah, I like I say, if there's one or two people that like the stuff, then it's my intention to carry on, because I'm stubborn and I've got all these beers and I want to put them out, and hopefully somebody will enjoy it. What I have got an idea of doing, and I've tried to do this on the channel in the last year, is try to do something a bit different. Now, everybody else that, Scott mentioned, everybody else that I could mention, but I won't because it's a blooming long list. There's a lot of people doing it, especially since 2020. There was a big proliferation of beer reviewers popped up, just decided to do, just for hobby, just for talking about their hobby, and fair enough. And many of them have gone on to do much better by numbers anyway than we have, for whatever reasons. Like I say, I try not to make it about me, so I try not to make too much of the personal opinions, apart from personal opinions about certain beers that I do or don't like, and certain, like my palate and hop notes and stuff like that. But I try not to make it about personal opinions about the rest of the world. But that does, sell, I suppose. That does get views. So I try to be low key. I try to do beers that not everybody else is doing. I try to do smaller breweries, the independent breweries. I try not to do supermarket stuff that everybody knows about, because I want to highlight the smaller breweries. I prefer them because they've got a much more interesting story than all the beers in the supermarkets. Fair play to the breweries. The small and medium-sized breweries have got their beers in supermarkets. There's that whole question around about, does it detract from the quality? That's a different video. But it's sort of, I like doing interesting stuff. I like doing relevant stuff. I love puns, so I love a good beer name. So if I can talk about that and why it's relevant to me, that's what I'll do in a video if I can. I've got 3 videos in production. Well, production, that sounds a bit posh, but No, in edit, because I'll do the video and I admire and I look up to all these other um, YouTubers, beer YouTubers, and that's probably why they're doing better than me, because they just set the camera up, talk, bang, bosh it out, either live or on the video. It all seems to be one take, and I strive for that one take. Talk about the beer, do something funny, entertaining, and get it up. Minimal edits, but I spend a lot of time editing because I'm highly critical, very self-critical of myself. Because if I sit there seeing something and they've said something wrong or they pronounced it wrong, I'm highly critical. I am a judgmental git, you know. What I'm not is a keyboard warrior. And you said that's wrong, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, right, mate, whatever. I'll watch the next video or not, you know, whatever. And it's like I do it for the fun of it. I take a great pleasure in like getting the end product out. I like the process. So I've got an idea, trying to get it ideated, get it into some kind of order. I can't script it. I know roughly what I'm going to say or the points, and I'll always forget something. I did a video last night and I had one point I wanted to make, I thought would be relevant, and I forgot it. So I'll have to try and edit that and maybe overdub it or something. And I will do that because I'm highly self-critical and a bit too like particular about getting all the right stuff. So the video from yesterday will now probably take precedence because there's less edits than the one I filmed the other day that I've now got to either redo. Well, there's one video I've got to redo, and one I've got to do far too many edits and put too many effects and flash some other stuff and put another video in just to make it what I think is interesting. Because it's like what I want to watch is what I want to make. So I want to make it in like different kind of content. Like, for example, like some of the stuff I want to do, and I said this the other day in a comment on Crummy Beers, he's doing like beer and bikes. He's bought a bike and a decent bike camera. He's going off showing us all the biking trails and biking to a pub. I bought some cheaper cameras and it hasn't really worked out. I've just got the bikes fixed again, so I want to do some cycling to the pub videos this summer because I think that's more interesting than me just sitting in front of a camera reviewing a beer and bunging it up. It's more interesting for me. If you guys love it, I'm going to do that anyway. Let me get rid of this one on a beer too. So yeah, it's something I want to do. It's something I'm gonna hopefully continue to do. That's what I want to do. So I missed a few comments there whilst I was ranting and rambling and beer waffling. If you think beer reviews have had its day, it's probably them being fed up with them. Well, that's a fair point, but also sometimes I get like that too. I think, what's the point? Should I just bin it all off and go and drink the beer and enjoy the beer? And indeed, some beer reviewers do that. They don't feel the need to review every single beer they buy. Again, I admire that kind of willpower, because I buy beers based on what I think I'm going to enjoy, and therefore I want to talk about it because I think I'll have plenty of content to do. Or do I just drink the beers and do worry about less content? Because you can't do every beer, because you know you just end up sort of flooding your channel a little bit if you could review every beer. Some, you know, again, but I admire the people that can bang out 2 or 3 reviews a day and not necessarily worry about, like, you know, being all perfect. And if I'm too much of a perfectionist, horses for courses is what it is. It's the content you want to bang out, really. The reviewers that review regular, but yeah, regular beers by depending on their individual standard. But yeah, the bigger beers, you do something about Guinness, you get more views probably. I mean, I always expand out the videos. I bung up the hashtags, I do the keywords, because, you know, I'll listen to the vidIQ stuff and how you're meant to grow your channel, and I do some of that, but I don't, like I say, I'm not doing that, you know, best beer in the supermarket stuff. I might, you know, I could do, because I'm not against supermarket beers. I do enjoy some of them, and some of them look good. So I will go down that road. And every now and again, you know, like even like I did it in a supermarket sweep. I just did the 3 beers I got from a super, and I will do that again because I've got some in. I just randomly pick it up. Shark, cheers, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for popping in. And I know you had some views on the subject of what I'm talking about. Rod, thank you very much. Also popping in from the good old US of A. Got an American porter later coming up on my third, a British brewed American porter. If you're sticking around to finish, let's get on to beer 2 because I'm 15 minutes over me allotted time for beer 1. I like to do 20 minutes of beer if I can. Yes, Photo Tikar. Not at the same time. I've changed it, so now beer 2 is there. Beer number 2, please. You think I know what I was doing by now, wouldn't you? Right, so beer number 2 is indeed going to be Bayonet Brewing. Keyboard Commander 6% West Coast IPA. West Coast IPA is another one where you don't see me doing too much. I think I would prefer West Coast IPAs usually, but again they have a tendency to go a bit piney, and I prefer the orange note of it. Talking of which, on the orange vodka, get in. It'll do, man. Whatever you want, man. It's all good if you got a beer on. Fit out vidIQ works. I haven't seen. No, well, vidIQ. Hate to bust their bubble, but vidIQ doesn't work. It's just them putting out content creation. They do have some good ideas and input, but you don't actually need to either sub to them or pay for their services to listen to what they've got to say and apply it accordingly. I think by their admission, when we got vidIQ'd, they don't actually know anything about the British beer scene or the American beer scene or any beer scene, to be fair, because that's not their point. They're just trying to put what they know about content creation and the YouTube algorithm into kind of practice. So yeah, a West Coast IPA. It is kind of rare. I've heard of Bayonet Brewing, and again know very little about the brewery. I do like their can design. I've seen a few about. I picked this one up again, going back to Adam's comment about my beer's out of date today, as they often are. This one's not out of date, I think, but I did pick it up on the discount range at Trembling Madness, a little random Trembling Madness order the other day to get a couple of specific beers for a video. That German that picked up the rhubarb beer, and that was just, I think that was just recently out. So that's me riding a little trend to do the rhubarb beer short. Never got around to doing the longer video version of that. So if you've seen the short, that was a bit of fun. So, here we go. Yeah, didn't see this originally. I picked it up off Trending Madness because I thought £3. You've got to try West Coast beers at some point, and you probably prefer them to your IPAs or your New Englands, because the few I've had a tendency to go towards orange, and if I'm talking about citrus in a beer, prefer orange and lemon to grapefruit, as you know. This one has Mosaic, Simcoe, Centennial, and Columbus on the hop. It is a 6% West Coast IPA. It says, get in there, you own that spreadsheet. I don't really do spreadsheets that much, but it happens to us, to all of us eventually. Like any good staff officer, this brew is tinged with piney bitterness. But we look forward to a bright future by balancing that with notes of tropical fruit and citrus. The West Coast style is the OG, and we know you're going to love our take on it. I don't know, and I've seen this comments about beer reviewing quite a lot about, oh, it's not like a West Coast used to be or meant to be or is. I don't know what it is or meant to be or was, because I never used to really drink it. Oh, yes. Okay. Bayonet Brewing in Northallerton, which I would say the northeast, but is in fact North Yorkshire. Now we know a man in the northeast of England, and we know a man in the northeast of England who claims to be from Yorkshire, but is from actually the northeast of Yorkshire. In Northallerton is not too far away from Luke John. Good evening to you, sir. Thanks for popping in. Bayonet Brewing is one of my favourite brewers. I remember getting beer off him when he was brewing in his garage. Good stuff. I must apologise, Luke, forgotten that they were from up your way. Enjoy the food, Henry. Yeah, I'd forgotten it was up your way, Luke. So this is my first Bayonet Brewing beer. Oh yeah, did I see the date on that? That's what I was going to say. So I've got the magnifying glass out. Oh, best before 27th of the 6th. I think I bought it on like the 25th of the 6th or something. So, but £3. It's a month. I know you're meant to drink them fresh, and people will be moaning at me, oh, you're meant to drink them fresh. And please do put it in the comments, because it drives the comments, and that would be good for the channel, etc. I'm only 10 minutes away from Bayonet, but only 3 minutes away from Three Brothers. God, you drive fast. Thought it'd be to Northallerton, 10 minutes. Yeah, fair play. I don't know the geography that well, but I roughly know. I'm thinking of the train journey. So, yeah, a 6%. Oh, and you notice I changed the order around because I'm going down the scale. So I started at 7.2, got to 6%. And I think that's the next one is 5. So normally I'll go up the scale if I can, but I'm going down the scale just to say different. Do you know what I mean? It's a month old. Yeah, I mean, it's only a nominal. I say this all the time. It's a nominal best before date. That's why I don't mind drinking nominally out of date beers. But let's try this one. It's around about that time of the evening when we know starts to block up for no apparent reason, drop in temperature or something. I don't know. Yeah, again, a faint citrusy kind of orangey marmalade kind of thing going on. Bayonet's core beers are really good. Yeah, it's one I've got to look into. I'm sure I nearly got an order from them, but I didn't have quite enough. Like I say, I like to have something that's got some interest in it, something I can relate to, some good, really good pun name, something relevant, or a disco beer. Oh yeah, I got more disco beers arriving tomorrow because I ordered them over the weekend. Thanks for the reminder, Mr. Wilson. Oh, drank that one too quick. Bear me a sec. I will get this beer down my neck in a minute. Right, yeah, so Bayonet. Keyboard Commander. Cheers. Yeah, no. I think that is how it's meant to be. Fairly big piney hit. I think the Simcoe again. I don't, palate cleanse. I don't think I've got too much Simcoe from the pressure drop, but yeah, it's another tester. It's another one where I should be trying it, but I'm going to struggle. I couldn't session it. I'm unlikely to go back for another. Like the reason, like put these two beers in now, because I was talking about this one I did on a Craig stream the other day. Didn't expect to like it being an 8% dipper, but it was a bunch of oats in there, so it was kind of balanced. And by the end of it, if you see the stream, I'm like, oh, actually, Rob obviously me saying, oh, it's a really good beer, and I'm like, it's a really good beer, but I don't really too much initial citrus, probably grapefruit hit, and then it kind of balanced out a little bit. This one doesn't feel like it's balancing out at all. It's just kind of slightly cloying, resinous pininess with, to be fair, not much in the way of grapefruit. There is more orange marmalade going on. So yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Tim's my car, Try Lost Robot. Price is fantastic and delivery is quick. Another one that's where, well, let's do that then, shall we? Let's have a quick look, because I like to provide interest and other information rather than me just wanging on. Let's have a look, see what they got. I can operate a computer properly after one beer. yeah, let's have a quick look whilst we're here. Don't expect big fruity numbers from Bayonet. He likes to use different hops. Well, that's fair enough. All about the hops. That's all good. Oh, buddy. Good evening, sir. You got it right. He knows. Buddy, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. If you're sticking around, got an American porter coming up next. If I can get through this big resinous piney thing. Don't get me wrong, like I say, it's not a bad beer. It's just it's gonna test me a little. Let's have a quick look at Bayonet. Didn't really have a look at Pressure Drop. I think everybody knows what's on Pressure Drop's website. There we go, Bayonet Brewing. There we go. With a focus on modern, exciting, innovative beers. We look to build on the ever-growing new craft beer scene. I was going to make a point about that. To bring an exciting space to Northallerton, North Yorkshire. We look to change local perception on what beer can be. Good. Whilst at the same time marking Northallerton as a future craft beer destination for all. Like I said, I do like the can design. Again, really simple. Well, it's not simple. It's quite complex in there, but it's got the brewery name, the beer name, percentage. I like the fact they put the hop notes on there as well, whether I like the hops or not. And reasonably striking design. I always look generally in the store just to see what they've got, see if I find them. Maybe I get something interesting. A Blackberry Ghost, I would try that. See, they got a big double IPA. Got a red IPA. A lot of people have been talking to me about red IPAs recently. Yeah, so it's double IPAs. You can still buy that. So you're saying that's a core beer, Luke? If that's back on there, I guess that's the next brew, or is that just continuously on? Well, there we go. We know all that information. Let's have a look at that red IPA because it's in a different can wrap. (5.8%) a red IPA. Nice lead malt profile, cup of clean bitterness, fresh fruit aroma, notes of pineapple and tropical fruit from Strata and Calypso. All good stuff. Yeah, so I'm liking, if that's the core range stuff in the regular cans, and then do something different. I do like that colours. It's kind of like almost camouflage, but much brighter. There we go. Yeah, some good stuff, man. Good stuff. It's good. Thank you. So yeah, I'm still struggling along with this a little bit. It's not particularly fizzy. I put them in the fridge all day, and it doesn't seem to have been as coldly refreshing as I was hoping. You know, when beers are colder, they're kind of easier to smash a little bit, but it's troubling my palate in that piney resinous kind of. Yeah, it shows. I guess I kind of thought that must be that. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of military installations up that way as well. Hence the name Bayonet, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. I get that now. Didn't think about that first of all. Keyboard Commander, I picked that because it kind of like, I was thinking of that Keyboard Warrior because I'm always banging on to my mates about drinking craft beer. That was the point I was going to make. Craft beer not being an actual term, completely made up term, makes no sense. People are saying, "Oh, I'm fed up with craft beer." I'm like, it's just beer. Same as real ale. It was like a term that was kind of coined slightly for marketing purposes, but trying to group stuff. beers are kind of like, it's a multitudinous term, Doesn't matter what beer you like. If you're drinking beer, that's all good. Like, as long as that's all I would say. As long as it's good beer. People say, "What's your favorite beer?" I'm like, I don't have one. Good beer. Like, it's beer. I mean, I think like Scott. I think also to a certain extent, Chris was making a point. I haven't played Chris's thing yet, but I've only got a little bit of it anyway. They were making a point about the difference between supermarket craft beers. Is it a bit overloaded, saturated market? And I generally, yes, it is. There is far too many breweries doing much the same thing, but that's great for the communities around there. Like if you're kind of community focused, all the smaller breweries and all the bigger stuff getting the mainstream attention. I saw Neon Raptor have gone into Morrison's today. I think they've had a collab in supermarkets before. But that's sort of like the next biggest, most popular, slightly trendy brewery, isn't it? Neon Raptor out of Nottingham. So they're bound to get noticed at some point. They do some big, heavy beers and some good core stuff. So I'm not quite surprised. But yeah, beer is a simple yet incredibly complex subject. It's a lot of nuance and a lot of differences. It's a beer, it's simple, it's got 4 main constituents. As you all know, water, barley, hops, and yeast. And some beers, even within that, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Some beer can still be a beer, even though it doesn't have any hops in it. We brewed a beer called a Groot with no hops. Hops were substituted by other plants to give that kind of hop flavour. Water, you can't argue with, it has to have that. Even amongst the barley, the malt, there's a whole range of different types. The yeast kind of, obviously you have to have that, has to be a fermented product to call it a beer. So even your Fosters and your Carlins, they are beer. I used to be the sort of person that would slug off Fosters and Carlin, despite Fosters being one of my originals and occasional go-tos. If the pub was nothing else, I'd be Fostering, but I'd be topping it or shandying it. Never liked Carlin. Not a big fan of all the others, Kronenberg, Stella, Carlsberg or Heineken particularly. I tried Carlsberg in Copenhagen because you kind of have to. But yeah, it's horses for courses, beers and beer reviewing. You review the beers you want to do. Some people review beers because they feel they have to. I'm kind of on the fence after where I try not to do too much mainstream stuff. Sorry, not super. I try not to do mainstream stuff on the channel at all. Like I went to the pub the other day to meet an old friend. It was a Green King pub, so I knew there was no content to be held there. And I looked at the bar, and I had a Strongbow Dark Fruits because that was all I could drink on the bar, really. I like Strongbow Dark Fruits. It's quite a refreshing, decent beer, cold in the summer. Do you know what I mean? So I sat outside, chewed the fat with an old friend, put the world to rights, and enjoyed a pint of Dark Fruits. All right, that's not beer, I must admit, but you get the thing. If you're sitting there drinking Fosters, it's because that's the only option in certain pubs. You can't argue with it, really. Everyone is charming apart from Disco. Did you see what he did to the beard? There is no coming back. Well, I give it a trim. I'm not charming, you bastard. That's the one I was trying to think of. I was trying to think of the word Catterick. I knew it was up there. I've been to Catterick, not the Garrison, but I've been to that. Yeah, I think you're hiding nothing with the people in this stream because they're all pretty much all subscribed anyway, and they're not the sort of people that bother with likes, even though there's a button specifically for that. But thank you very much indeed, Henry, for the reminders, because people forget, especially that fellow. What's his name? Luke. There you go. This is interesting. Hopefully, a comment from across the pond. I just drink treat beer. As far as good beer, I don't like beers with a lot of ingredients and flavors. I like simple things like a Guinness. Oh, they're fair play. I used to be slagging that sort of thing off. Guinness gets a free pass with me because I drank so much of it in my youth. God, that was a long time ago. But yeah, it is. Not simple. I'm a simpleton. There's a difference. That probably, I think, used to be my line back in the day as well. Had a bottle of Budvar Dark yesterday. I have to say it's not as good as on draft. No, yeah, probably. But still, given the choice, I'm heading to Budvar Dark 9 times out of 10. Good evening, Mr. B. Good evening, bro. Yeah, have a little chinwag about beer and like beer reviewing and the state of beer reviewing today, such as it is. And yeah, and why on earth I'm drinking on a Monday night? And is anybody else? What have you got in your glass? If you have, and have you bashed out 2 in an hour? Yeah, I'm halfway down this Bayonet. I have to say, I'm enjoying it about as much as the pressure drop, to be honest, because it's challenging, which I don't mind. You've got to try these things. Did I do the pick? I didn't do the pick, even though David Wilson reminded me. Thank you very much indeed, sir. And then I wanged on again. Completely forgot, so do bear with me a second. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this whilst I take the photograph. Let's see what Chris has to say on the matter, because this was the other point I was going to make. If I've got it set up right. So yeah, Chris of Chris's Beer Reviews had a similar video this week about more the state of his channel rather than the state of beer reviewing or beer. It's just like his personal thoughts more than anything.
Is where am I at with beer? Where am I at with beer reviewing? And I've started to fall out of love. Is that the right word with beer? It's not drawing me in like it used to. Certainly on the craft beer scene, to say I rarely buy craft beer now is probably quite true. And I'm just kind of at a point where I'm a bit stuck with the channel, because I enjoy talking to a camera. That I do enjoy. I like sitting there, turning the camera on and just kind of disappearing into that little world of being on a camera up in my beer shed, just chatting away about a beer, and that I enjoy. It makes me I switch off from the world and just get kind of deeply involved in what I'm doing with the beer, and I forget about everything else that goes on in the world and in the busy lifestyle that I have, and it just gives me a little kind of, it's a little sanctuary, my beer shed. I've said that before. It's like my little sanctuary where I can just escape the world, and I was escaping the world of the beer. I'm not saying that I'm drinking lots. That's not what I'm getting at. I've just got to that point where I'm struggling with the whole beer thing at the moment. I was ill recently, and
of course, all the best, Chris. Over the illness now, and hopefully, and yeah, best wishes to him. Hopefully everything's all good with whatever illness he had. But it makes a really good point, I think, about yeah, I don't want to go into the health benefits or lack thereof of beer. Yeah, I got the video out, got the picture out. It's kind of oddness of the darkness beginning out. But yeah, all the best, Chris, and whatever he does with his channel. Onwards and upwards. I mean, at the end of the day, Chris, 1.69, 1.7 thousand subs. It must have been doing something right. It must have been talking, having some good interest, had some good beer out on the channel. So fair play and all the best. That's what I was going to. Let me just share that again. Yeah, so that's my point. Probably can't see that actually, can you? Yeah, so I just said my point to Chris was I think you have to do what's best for you, do what you enjoy. If that's an occasional beer, people will be here for that. All the best. That's at the end of the day what we're kind of all doing, and I think those that are doing it right is just doing what you want to do, what you need to do. Good point. I hope you travel. If you're not enjoying it, then completely agree. This decreasing your drinking is the only thing to do. Local ale in the UK is outstanding, and I'd love to see them getting promoted. They don't fit the supermarket model, but that is nowhere a bad thing. That's a very good point. It's kind of what I was talking about, with my local brewery. They supply to the local market. They have a lot of returning customers in the area. And there are so many other, but I'm sure like Bayonet does it to a certain extent. So does Pressure Drop over in London. But even so do the Northern Monks vocations of the world in the supermarkets, plus all the others. But they also have that national appeal. So I don't really slag off that kind of mainstream stuff in supermarkets as much as I slag off your Heinekens and your Carlsbergs and your big beers, because I still believe they kind of detract from it by just going to the bottom line and getting whatever they can get away with, I think. So you won't really see me doing that much on that kind of stuff, because it just doesn't interest me and it gets me annoyed. I see Shark's comment there as well. I wonder if it is a different perspective in America. I don't know. Despite, obviously, I watch the videos from America as well. I have less of an interest in that in a way, because I can't get the beers pretty much. And I guess the more interesting stuff in America is kind of the more mainstream stuff that transcends across the pond. But it's we get some American beers here, so something I look at occasionally. I missed a bunch of comments of something I was going to talk about there. This is kind of an interesting point. Yeah, a lot of beer review channels mostly really only do banter. And we're talking about, well, exactly. It's sort of like, that's the kind of like channels that are doing it for the fun of it, really. There are one or two channels that are trying to be that kind of, and that's where we're talking about mainstream, where you're trying to get those views, get those numbers, and there are only 2 or 3 are doing it, I guess, professionally, full time. And there's a bunch recently that look like they're doing it with greater production values and are doing it more. I use the word professionally in inverted commas there, of course. They just look at Corporation Pop. What's Corporation Pop? It must be mainstream beer, I guess. I was going to try and do a really clever geographical comment. I know the term corporation, like more relevant in cities like, in Manchester and Liverpool, the corporation, like the council, like, but I can't think what Corporation Pop might be. I'm sure you'll remind me. Yeah, fair play, Shark. I think beer reviews won't go away, but it will have its highs and lows. Yeah, I do think it's cyclical. I mean, again, Scott, in his video that I showed earlier, he did go on to mention like what happened before 2020, and there was a definite split between 2020. I think a lot of people don't realise or forget or don't even know that we started out in 2018, so we was trying to do stuff before there was like a big snowball effect. That happened basically in 2020, and there were so many other beer reviews doing it, but we didn't know what we were doing in 2018. Some say we still don't now. I'm going to move on because I'm struggling with that one. It's all right, but it's not, I'm finding it harder and harder to smash that down. There's a sort of vague, very thin marmalade-y feel to it, which I usually get with West Coast, so I'm probably just designing my mind towards that. But yeah, I'm going to put that to one side, refresh the palate, because it's going to be very difficult to go on to the next beer with orange and pine. No, never reviewed beer. You didn't have that many subs to lose. That was fucking rude, Disco. No, sorry, mate. Nick used to do some great beer reviews, by the way, and now do some really good food stuff. So check his channel out. It's hard to do a review when you only get 1 can or bottle at a time. If you get a 4-pack, you can do a review. Well, that's the thing. I always tend to do doubles of most beers. I haven't of these two. These are just a random one-off. But then I guess you guys find it harder to get singles. You get it in 4-packs anyway, so you have that luxury a little bit. I try to get 2s, but then that gets expensive. But sometimes I'll get 2s. I'll get pairs just because it builds up an order. If I'm only going for one specific beer, then I'll put a couple of other pairs on there. Beer number 3, please. I really need some kind of producer to do all the comments, really. Right, beer number 3 is Double Barreled Brewing Whippet, a 5% American Porter. I'm sure you'll be able to tell me. You're going to have to forgive me what specifically makes it an American Porter as opposed to a British Porter. I'm guessing it's hops. So I'm guessing I'm a little bit in for some kind of hoppiness going on here. But it pours into the glass, nice, and there's a slight thinness, but it looks kind of oil slick smooth going on. Kind of bubbly on the head. I'm going to let that settle before I go and do the next photo. I'm way behind on comments. Well, you don't have to. It's not compulsory. But yeah, he makes some other further points about the state of his channel or where he's at and what he's going to do. Oh, of course, I knew that. Tap water is Corporation Pop. Yeah, I knew that. I've just completely forgot that. That's a great one. You on Corporation Pop or you on Posh Corporation Pop? The old sparkling water. Can't stand sparkling water. Tastes of, well, not eggy farts, but it's just that carbon dioxide stuff. Doesn't really, yeah, not great. Unless you mix it with other stuff and carbonate it through the keg line like I did at the weekend to make a really nice fresh lemonade without any lemons. Video of that coming up, hopefully, if I can get it edited. Oh, really? I did review most of my audiences in the UK. Well, hence the good hop AI hop videos that I'm kind of enjoying. I still have to catch up with some of those, but that was some good stuff, interesting and useful. Good. I found most of my reviews are pointless, so they're 75% local and one-off beers, so they don't mean anything, to be honest. By the time I review the beer ain't available, I just do it as like, yeah, exactly. So I think it is. I disagree with you. I think it is useful, only from a personal point of view, in that I love hearing about local breweries. I try to, as I said, probably at the top of the show, I like doing the smaller breweries that no one's ever heard of, because in a way it's a bit like me going, look, I've got this beer that you haven't got, or I don't care if no one's ever heard of it. I've heard of it and I want to talk about it. So I think that's relevant, Rob. Again, you do it as a hobby, so you're not worried about the fact that nobody's heard of the beer. And to be fair, you do a lot of beers that well, any beer reviewer, I would think, I would like to say worth his salt, because I include myself in that, has heard of the beers that you do. And if you don't, there's some of those like smaller breweries, even if it's only like, you know, a real ale in a 500ml bottle, still looks good and interesting. And if you find one that I'm interested in, it means I get to buy it too as well. If you're doing the core stuff, then it will be available by the time your reviews come out. And you might, I've bought beers because I've seen other beer reviewers do them, all right, especially the disco beers. I wouldn't say they're pointless. I think that's a bit like me being too much of a perfectionist and highly self-critical. Yeah, so I think there's always going to be a point, as long as you get more than 0 views on a video or live, there's going to be a point to it. So especially yourself, Rob, I wouldn't do yourself down on that. There's always some good content on your channel. Like I said before, I don't watch all of I don't watch all of Rob's stuff. I don't watch all of every beer reviewer stuff, because there ain't enough hours in the world. But if I see a thumbnail, see a title, that's what I'm interested in. Oh, that's not the greatest. It's not well thingied, but well, we are there. So yeah, Double Barreled Brewing out of Reading in Berkshire, out west of me. It's called Whippet at 5%. American porter. You know, I like the porters. I don't like the hoppier porters and stouts, but I also feel duty bound a little bit to give them a go. Not a bad 3 lineup for a Monday night. None of them were particularly heavy, despite starting at 7.2% and going down. Your ideas like a virtual, they are exactly. I find them interesting. Yeah, no, that's exactly. It's like a personal log of the beers I've had apart from supermarket stuff. That's how I kind of did it originally. I've got all the photographs. I mean, originally I would put them on like Facebook or whatever, and then once we started the channel, I do like looking back, certainly on the grid on Instagram and the thumbnails on YouTube. You know, especially on YouTube where you can look at your oldest first, and it's like, and sometimes you need. I don't do Untapped. Because I do the social media and log all the beers on there. I try to stay away from Untapped because it's just another time thing to take up your time in a way. Fair play, sir. Enjoy. Have a good evening. Bye, this is Malcolm Porter. Can't smell it. Let's get it down a minute because I'm over time. I was going to try and keep this one to an hour. I never do. I never start on time. I never finish on time. It's all a bit of fun, to be fair. Done some Rugby CV recently from Anglesey Seed. Like I know you mentioned it the other day. It's one I've never heard of. Despite looking at North Wales beers, I've got a mate who lives next door to Bradley Conway. So I will do that at some point, hopefully with him. I've said it there. I say it now, so I've got to do it. I say a lot of things and don't ever get around to doing it for various reasons, too busy, etc. And I will get around to it eventually. I don't know. There is a slight hoppiness to that, and I don't know whether it's carrying on from the previous two. But there is a nice dark malt character to it. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I was saying earlier, I've got 3 videos in the edit suite, such as it is, to get round to. One of them's got to be remade, and I've got 2 others I've got a plan for. I've had a plan for like 3 months. In fact, I've got 3 videos I meant to do 3 months ago. I keep putting it off because I want to get it right. I want to get it spot on. I think it's a really good idea. Again, it'll only be as big as all the others or whatever, but I want to do them. I want to do it justice. I want to do it right. I'm too much of a perfectionist, so I want to do it. I want to have the time. Also, I want to do it mid-afternoon when the light's right, and it's blah blah blah. So there we go. I had Whip It a couple of years ago. Thought it was okay. Yeah, it is okay. It's not standing out as a big number. Again, it's possibly difficult after those 2. There's a thinness to it, but it's like all the other porters. It's perfectly decent. I'd want to try it, or maybe on tap, perhaps. Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much indeed. I'll catch you either on yours or on here the next time. I'm not sure. I might do one on Wednesday. I'm not working on Wednesday, but I am on Thursday. So whether I want to do one Wednesday, I will have time to do it. So, I had planned for Whip Beer Wednesday. I got 3 whip beers, so I should do that this week. I'll maybe pop it up. If anybody's got any whip beers and want to join, then we can have a look at that. Do message me on the usual channels. Luke John, I probably missed you already, but you obviously 2 videos to record a live. See what I mean? It's like you can't be watching everybody else's stuff if you've got your own stuff to be recording, editing, or putting out. I'll catch you hopefully for the live tomorrow. Even though I'm trying to do a lot of other stuff tomorrow, and I always get waylaid on a Tuesday by a lot of other stuff. But thanks very much indeed for popping in, Luke. As always, fantastic comments and a good laugh. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, so I'm not getting massive porter notes. I'm not getting bourbon biscuits like I like to get with a porter, good porter, I think. It's just some reasonably dark notes. I'm still getting a slight marzipan note, I think, from the first one, which is, well, what do I know? I never say I'm a beer expert. enjoy drinking beer. I enjoy trying beer. I say what I feel. I say what comes out. What comes to the top of my head. My head works differently to a lot of other people, so I say a lot of different things. I think. I won't go into personal details of that, but I know. Yeah, see, I won't do personal stuff. I try not to. Adios, peace, love, and good beer as always. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, so the state of beer, craft beer is an anomaly. It's just a marketing term, so is real ale. The state of this channel, such as it is, just going to carry on banging up the lives, doing some good thumbnails, and talking about the beers. And if you guys come along for the ride too, that's fantastic. As we do live beer review. Yeah, I'm kind of doing more live beer reviews because I end up getting that kind of, not more honest, but less considered, more shoot from the hip kind of like just sort of saying what I see kind of thing. Like I say, I've got a few ideas for the videos. I've got bunches in ideation and bunches in edit to do, and ones I've got in my head that need to get out there, and I've got a whole bunch of beer to do as well. Yeah, see, that's the thing. There are some channels. Sammy over in Australia, he just does live beer reviews because yeah, it's a way of drinking, enjoying the beer as well as talking about it and not having to worry about all that content schmeg. I don't know. I tried to go into a Crichton from Red Dwarf thing, schmeghead. That didn't work in my head. See what I mean? That's what happens on a live. It's either funny or it's not. Cheers. Yeah, he doesn't worry about all that, making a video, making it perfect, saying the right thing. He just says what he sees. A fair play to beer reviewers who do that. That's the thing. There's a lot of sameness amongst beer reviewing, but there's also a lot of differences. Everybody has their own little unique take on it and unique little thing. Like I say, I'm trying to step away from just sitting in front of the camera and talking about. I've always stepped away from going, oh great, another session pale ale, oh great, another dipper, oh great, another IPA. And again, I'm getting more into it, but like I say, it always used to be, oh great, another IPA from the latest trending brewery with Simcoe, Azacca and Citra. And here's another one with Citra, Simcoe and Azacca. I haven't seen an Azacca beer for a long time actually. But yeah, so I do stuff that interests me. That's why I do a lot of adjunct heavy beers, because it just interests me. It's something different than the hop profile. But I will always try a hoppy beer. I've got 4 hoppy beers coming up. 5 fairly hop heavy beers coming up in the next disco day, whenever that be. It's meant to be around about this time because I like to knock it around this time in July around my birthday. But my birthday came and went on Saturday and I was working. And that's not a complaint. I just enjoyed it. But that meant I didn't really get a lot of beers in. That's kind of why I'm doing some beers tonight, because it's kind of my weekend, like working Saturday and Sunday. And Monday and Tuesday is sort of a weekend, or at least it feels like that now. But as I say, don't always enjoy a beer on a Monday and Tuesday. And sometimes I get back here, I get back here to the Disco Arms and I sit on the sofa and I go, I think I just have a nice cup of tea rather than a beer. I don't want to have that jump through those mental hoops of assessing beer and talking about it, or just have a cup of tea and a piece of cake, to be fair. Oh yeah, did you see that I slipped in the old birthday thing? It's not about me. And by the way, if I may say so, this is one thing that irks me, no disrespect, Bramall. The term happy belated birthday is not a thing. My birthday was not belated, your greeting is. I'm an arse. I could be an arse sometimes, but I take the compliment. Thank you very much indeed for the greeting. So yeah, it should be belated happy birthday. I've said as much on Facebook as well, by the way. So don't worry, a lot of my mates do it. No, it's fine. But we are busy people. We have busy lives. You can't be wishing happy birthday to everybody all the time. I think I missed yours, actually, Baron, because I know you were talking about beers for your birthday. I was just busy at the brewery. So belated birthday greets to you. Can't beat a good cup of tea. The better thing, the only thing better than a good cup of tea is another cup of tea and some cake, tea and cake. I had a good tea and cake this afternoon. No, I won't show me birthdays. Well, it's just a bit rude rather than evil. It's all done in the best possible taste. I think everybody will probably get that Kenny Everett reference in this chat. Do you remember that? God, that shows how old I am. Yeah, I didn't turn officially completely old, just slightly older. And yeah, I dislike being old. I still could, mostly because, like I said before, about not having any kids, more disposable income, and not doing that whole like family thing, having to worry about that apart from the cat. Yeah, I still think I'm fairly young, which makes me still think I can drink beer heavily. I can't. You know what I mean? 3 beers, and that's about my limit. But there you go. Yeah. So, and I'm not as old as some of you. So there you go. But yeah, for a Monday night, it's been a good, gentle session actually. Although I've got 3 reasonably mid-strength or higher strength beers, 7, 2, 6, and 5. It's been a very good session. I don't feel too wobbly. I don't feel out of place. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea before bed. Just to smooth things out a little bit and make sure I'm okay to up and do in the morning. Say not at work, but I still think I've talked far too much about myself. It's all about the beer, as I say. So we're down the dark end, the back end of the live stream. That's getting much more maltier, more of that brown porter kind of thing. I'm enjoying it a bit more. I'm going to sit and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and finish that West Coast, the Bayonet, because I do quite like the West Coast bouncing onto a porter, that kind of orange versus porter note. So yeah, I'm going to leave that with you. Cheers, David Wilson. As you know, I'm kind of wrapping things up now. You can start telling when I'm going to get all wrapping up. But yeah, so thank you very much indeed for everybody for popping in, and if you're watching after the event, after the live stream, thank you very much indeed for getting this far to the end. Please comment, like, subscribe. Yeah, definitely do comments after the event, because it makes the algorithm think I'm popular, and I like that. Like I said earlier, that's what we do YouTube for. Well, maybe not everybody, that's what I do for. Well, it's not completely what I do it for. I just like that. All right. Oh, maybe that 7.2% is kicking in now. So yeah, thank you very much indeed, everybody. To all you beer reviewers out there, keep up the good work. If you don't want to do a beer review, don't. If you do, we'll be there for that. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the beers. That's the main thing. And until the next one, possibly Wednesday, I've been Disco of Rasko and Disco Beer Review, live from in front of the cans and bottles. I'm still enthusiastically calling the Disco Arms. Cheers and enjoy the beers, whatever and wherever you get them from. Cheers. Run VT, play the outro.